Welcome to the Golden Gems podcast. Today, we're taking a deep dive into Eddie Murphy, the architecture of the $6.7 billion laugh, analyzing how trauma, strategic career maneuvers, and psychological discipline forged one of the most dominant careers in global entertainment history.
And our mission here really is to move past the classic comedy bits. You know, the stand-up routines we all know.
To get to the blueprint.
Exactly, the blueprint. We're looking at the structural leverage he had, how his genius developed psychologically, and just the sheer economic scale of it all.
That $6.7 billion figure is just, it's hard to even wrap your head around.
It is, and it represents a career built with the precision of, like, a master engineer.
Right, and the core insight we kept finding is that you have to see him less as a comedian and more as, what was the phrase? A forensic technician of human behavior.
That's the one. Because his whole career, from stand-up to SNL to the box office, it wasn't just luck.
Yeah.
It was a strategic takeover. It became the Murphy blueprint that, basically every comedian after him tried to follow.
Yeah.
So if his career is this massive skyscraper, where's the foundation? I think we have to start with some pretty profound early adversity.
Absolutely. The foundation is trauma. Born in Brooklyn, 1961. His parents divorced when he's 3.
And then when he's only 8, his father, Charles Murphy, who was a police officer, he's killed.
A huge destabilizing event. But what the sources really zeroed in on is what happens next.
Right. His mother, Lillian, gets sick with tuberculosis.
And Eddie and his brother Charlie end up in foster care for about a year.
Yeah.
And that year, that's the crucible.
Why that period specifically?
Because for a child, being in a stranger's home it's a high-stakes environment. Survival's not guaranteed. You have to become an acute sensor.
You're forced into what they call a hyper-observer mode.
Precisely. You're not just looking for laughs, you're decoding micro-expressions, you're reading social hierarchies just to stay safe.
So his mimicry wasn't about being funny, it was a survival tool.
It started that way. It turned his observation from, broad caricature into what the analysis calls photorealistic precision.
You can see that. It's not just a funny voice. He captures the whole physical language of a person.
It's kind of psychological detachment.
Yeah.
He's cataloging human behavior like a scientist. So by the time he's 15 and his home life is stable again, he's already decided.
He's going to be a famous comedian.
And he's got this massive library of human data ready to deploy.
And he finds the perfect moment to deploy it. It's 1980, and Saturday Night Live is, for all intents and purposes, dead.
Saturday Night Dead, that's what they called it. Lorne Michaels is gone, the original cast is gone, and the show is facing cancellation. It's a crisis.
And he gets in
Yeah.
after 6 auditions, right, for a tiny salary.
Just $4,500 an episode. But he didn't come in to be part of an ensemble. He came in as a one-man rescue operation.
And you can see that turning point so clearly, that Weekend Update segment.
Raheem Abdul-Mahal.
Yeah. The charisma was just, it was on another level. It made everyone else on screen feel instantly obsolete.
And that gave him immediate, unbelievable leverage. The executive producer, Dick Ebersol, he saw it. He basically fired the entire cast.
Except for Murphy and Joe Piscopo.
Right. So suddenly, this 19-year-old kid is the structural, load-bearing wall for an entire network franchise.
He's the 19-year-old CEO.
He is. And you can see that authority in the sketches. It's a cadence of authority. He commands laughs. He doesn't ask for them.
Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood, that wasn't just a parody.
No, it was sharp urban satire. It was a critique of gentrification, of racial profiling, all through this really dark, funny lens.
Or Gumby. Taking a children's character and injecting it with this pure, uncut celebrity ego.
I'm Gumby, damn it. It's all about dominance.
And by his last season, 1984, he had so much power, he negotiated the right to pre-tape his sketches.
Which completely unheard of for a live show. He literally bent the format of the show to fit his film schedule.
And he takes that power, that leverage, straight into cinema, and it's not just for a paycheck.
No, it's a strategic mission.
Yeah.
To dismantle the black sidekick trope that was just everywhere in Hollywood at the time.
You see it right away in 48 Acres. He fought with the director, Walter Hill.
To rewrite his own dialogue, yeah. To make it authentic. He refused to just be a mouthpiece.
And that defiance leads directly to the Axel Foley blueprint in Beverly Hills Cop.
Which completely solidifies the Eddie Murphy archetype, right? The street-smart outsider who is always, without fail, the smartest guy in the room.
He doesn't fight the system, he hacks it with his wit. And that movie was the biggest film of 1984, period.
And proved the archetype was a global phenomenon.
So let's talk about the concert films, because that's where you see the psychological side of this. The letter suits.
Delirious and Purple, Raw and Red. They weren't just costumes.
They were armor.
Physical armor, yeah. A literal high-gloss exoskeleton. It projects total invulnerability. He's delivering some really controversial material.
But he's untouchable inside that suit. It's the complete opposite of, say, Richard Pryor, who was all about bleeding vulnerability.
Murphy was about command, distance, awe.
And behind the scenes, he had the discipline to back it up. I mean, this is the 80s. So many of his peers, like Belushi, were lost to addiction.
And Murphy was famously strictly sober. He said he never even tried cocaine, avoided pot until he was in his 30s. It was a survival strategy.
Which brings us back to the forensic technician idea. He actually links his comedic detail to his OCD.
He does. He talks about these childhood rituals, checking the gas dials on the stove over and over again.
So that hyper-observer mode he learned in foster care, it's literally wired into his brain.
Exactly. He channeled an anxiety into a tool for perfect, detailed character work. It's an incredible connection.
Okay, so let's move into the 90s, because the media narrative is all about the slump.
Which is a word he completely rejects. He framed it as just the natural cycles of a career. The 80s aesthetic was over, and the culture had shifted.
And his comeback was this incredible strategic pivot. It starts with the Nutty Professor.
Which he considers his best work. And you can see why. He's playing 7 different characters.
But it's not just mimicry anymore.
No. He brings real pathos to it, especially to the character of Sherman Klump. He's integrating empathy into the technique. It showed he could be vulnerable.
And just as he's hitting this new creative and commercial high, the 1997 scandal hits.
The incident with the sex worker in his car. The media frenzy was just immediate and brutal.
Well, his defense, that he was just being a good Samaritan, was largely ignored. It really threatened to derail everything.
Especially given the history of how performers of color are treated in those situations compared to, say, a Hugh Grant.
So his response is maybe the most brilliant strategic move of his entire career.
The total pivot into family-friendly media. It was a masterstroke.
Mulan in '98, voicing Mushu. And then the big one, Shrek in 2001.
And we have to be clear, a massive, massive chunk of that $6.7 billion number comes directly from the Shrek franchise.
It introduced him to a whole new generation that knew nothing about the leather suits or the scandals. It proved his comedic timing could exist completely separate from his physical presence.
He basically firewalled his brand. And that comeback arc leads him to his critical peak with Dreamgirls in 2006.
James Thunder early, just an explosive performance. Golden Globe win, Oscar nomination.
And there was this widespread feeling that he was just robbed, that he should have won the Oscar.
And his reaction, walking out of the auditorium when Alan Arkin's name was called.
It speaks volumes. It's not just being a sore loser. It's a refusal to participate in an institution that he felt failed to recognize his work. It's the 19-year-old CEO all over again.
So when you trace all of that, the legacy is undeniable. The Murphy blueprint is the foundation for Chris Rock, for Dave Chappelle. Jerry Seinfeld called him the greatest of his era, full stop.
And now we're seeing this incredible third act. The comeback with Dolomite Is My Name in 2019 was a critical triumph.
97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Just staggering. And then the full circle moment, hosting SNL after 35 years.
He brings back Mr. Robinson, Gumby, Buckwheat. He symbolically reclaims the stage that he saved. It won him an Emmy and got the show its highest ratings in years.
So his final achievement really is one of self-preservation. He retreated, focused on his family, his 10 children, and he proved he was the operator of the Hollywood machine, not just another cog to be chewed up by it.
Which brings up a fascinating final question about it all. This psychological armor he built, the detachment, the focus on family, is that a mandatory requirement? Do you have to build that fortress to survive being a true artistic phenomenon at that level?
It makes you wonder if the industry is built to reward geniuses who allow themselves to be exploited, and if the ultimate act of genius is building the fortress that allows you to survive the exploitation altogether.
Thank you for listening to the Golden Gems podcast. We'll be back next time with another deep dive. Until then, keep exploring, keep listening, and keep celebrating the power of uncompromising voices.